coronavírus é um desafio. E a tecnologia da Petrobras pode ajudar muito neste momento. Nossos cientistas e nossa rede de parceiros estão buscando incansavelmente soluções rápidas para prevenção e tratamento. Redirecionamos a capacidade de processamento de 2 supercomputadores para a pesquisa de combate à doença. Juntos, nossa energia fica mais forte.
Boa tarde. Como temos um convidado de Israel, esse painel será em inglês. Vocês podem acionar as legendas na sua ferramenta do YouTube em frente à sua tela. My name is Bernardo Zamiovisky, the Real2C team, and I would like to thank the speakers as well as you guys for your audience. Today we will present the following panel. Not just medicine, plasma, and vaccines, digital transformation is also a weapon against our enemy, COVID-19. Our speakers will talk about how mobile AI, data, sensors technologies apply in an integrated process between academy, public, and private sector are promoting a digital transformation in our society to combat this crisis, but it will also become our new normal. We have today as our speakers Agustinho Vilela, Innovation Director at IBM Latin America, André Ferraz, Founder and CEO at Inloco, Warren Stein, VP Global Sales at Globekeeper, Nicolas Simoni, Transformation and Innovation Executive Director at Petrobras, and André Veloso, Founder, Runway. With you guys, Agustinho Vilela.
Thank you, Bernardo. Thanks for the opportunity of being able to speak in this wonderful Real2C event. As Bernardo knows, I have a personal motivation to get involved in finding solutions for COVID-19 because around mid-March, I was unfortunate enough to lose my uncle and my brother to COVID-19. And at that occasion, I asked myself, what could I do about it since I'm not a physician? And since I was sort of paying attention to the fact that countries like China, then Singapore, then Taiwan, then others were leveraging technology to see how you could sort of control the expansion of COVID-19, I decided to delve into the field. And at that time, I didn't even know how this technology was called or how this approach was called. So basically, it's something called contact tracing. And if you think about it, it's not too hard to imagine. When the first people that got infected in Brazil arrived, physicians would interview them and ask them who they had been in touch with. That's sort of analog or physical contact tracing. You can do that when you have a few infected people, but you cannot do that at scale when you have hundreds of thousands of people getting infected. So that's why you have to do what's called digital contact tracing, which is basically leveraging devices such as smartphone, which is very much an extension of ourselves nowadays, to find out who you have been in touch with. The challenge with contact tracing has to do with, I think there are 4 main challenges. First of them is privacy. How can you provide efficient digital contact tracing, but at the same time, assure that people's privacies are preserved? Secondly, it has to be something scalable. We're talking about millions of people. Think about Brazil. We have 211 million people and thousands getting infected every day. Third, it has to be something readily available. There's no time to develop something from scratch. I mean, times of essence when it comes to COVID-19, needless to say. Okay. And finally, you have to do this in a way that can really be deployed everywhere. You have to think of something that it's not a niche solution, can be integrated and so forth. So with that in mind, I've been looking to 2 interesting solutions here in Brazil. One's called DICOVID. It's a local solution developed in the state of Pernambuco in Brazil, which has very interesting features regarding integration with government systems, a rich set of functionalities, etc. And this is really key. and it deploys a contact tracing technique based on GPS. So it can detect what we call surface contagion of COVID, like people who shared a same physical space at distinct moments, okay? And what I'm looking into is how this solution could be merged with another initiative called COVID Community Alert from Europe that leverages what's called Bluetooth contact tracing, which is something that began in Singapore, where you detect that people have been in close contact with each other, basically using Bluetooth. And so by having this sort of a local solution that's very well devised with respect to integration with government health systems that covers the use case of surface contagion and basically merging that with a solution that is very privacy preserved because it follows European GDPR laws and covers the use case of contact through Bluetooth, which is actually definitely more accurate than GPS. I feel that this could be a winning solution for the country, and if not, possibly even for the world. Okay, so this is where I've been dedicating my time to sort of understand these two solutions, to see what they need to sort of join forces, work together, and the deployment of that COVID is going to begin in Pernambuco state probably today, and it's going to be expanded to other states. We expect some replication among states in Brazil fairly soon, and hopefully they will, at a second release, merge with COVID Community Alert, and as I said, incorporate these interesting additional properties that they have, and who knows, maybe even create something that can be replicated worldwide. So basically, that's where I stand on this topic. Currently, IBM is providing cloud, okay, and I'm seeking approval within the company for further engagement. But at this moment, we are basically a cloud provider for this.
Thank you very much, Agostinho. Now, André Ferraz, please.
Bernardo. Hi, everyone. I'm André from Inloco. Well, what we have been doing so far is analyzing our location data. So Inloco is a data company focused on location technologies. And basically the way we have been leveraging location data in this scenario is, first of all, mapping what we're calling the social isolation index, which is available on our website. Basically, we're mapping the percentage of people in a certain area which are leaving their homes during a certain date, right? And based on that, we are ranking all of those micro-regions within a city to help government authorities to understand how to respond to each region in a specific way. So that was the first one. And with this metric, we actually started using that as an input to start making some predictions. So for example, we did a predictive model with the University of São Paulo, in which they're leveraging this information to predict the infection curve for each city. And they're leveraging the social isolation index combined with another information, which is the flow of people between different cities. So because of that, they're able to predict the infection curve. So that's another metric. Then there is an additional metric with location data, which is understanding in real time the occupancy rate of hospitals and healthcare facilities. And based on that, combining this information with the prediction of the infection curve, we're able to predict in a certain area when the local healthcare system is going to get into a deep crisis, right? So we're basically helping predict what's next in regards to this crisis, and understanding the real effects of social distancing and social isolation regarding the infection curve, right? So I should mention some other elements of this solution, which is Agostinho mentioned very well, like this needs to be scalable, right? And Inloco as a company was serving several app developers with this location technology to do other things, including personalizing the user experience based on the location context, and also securing the user's transactions by leveraging location as an additional factor for secure authentications. As we already had this penetration, we used the data, and we asked for the 60 million devices that we have access to opt in to contribute their data additionally to this new purpose that we were using to combat COVID. So out of the 60 million, about 37.5 million people opted in to enable us to use this data for COVID purposes as well. And because of that, we were able to map the entire country and understand what's going on in regards to social distancing. And then finally, I should mention about the privacy practices here, which is definitely a sensitive topic when we're talking about geolocation and also the scenario of the pandemic, which is, first of all, the process is voluntary. So all of those 37.5 million users, they opted in to enable us to use their location data for this purpose. The second thing is that it's easy to opt out or delete your data at any time within our platform. And finally, the data that is being made available to the governments, it is also being made available to the public. So it's available on our website as well. Everyone could check which type of information we're disclosing. And the information is not about individuals, but about regions, right? So we're talking about neighborhoods, cities, states, but not a person specifically. So we're aggregating the information, anonymizing the information, and only enabling governments to use the broader map of Brazil and how things are moving. So that's basically what we have been doing. Happy to be contributing with our technology to this initiative. Also happy that a few weeks ago we were interacting with Agostinho as well on trying to see how this technology could be applied to country tracing. We figured out that it's not the most adequate technology. So happy to see that you're now starting to use Bluetooth as well, because that's an important step on combating this crisis. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Warren, now is your turn.
Thank you, Bernardo. Wonderful to be on the panel, and it's wonderful to see how companies are trying to both flatten that curve and try get people back to work and the economy running again. So I'm Warren, looking after the business for GlobeKeeper. And just to let you know a little bit about GlobeKeeper is that our core product is in fact a virtual command platform where we work with security agencies the world over using existing mobile devices. Our founders are people come out of the IDF intelligence corps and specializing in secure communications. This is important because I say that when the Ministry of Health in Israel contacted us to help them try and combat this tragedy with the contact tracing application, the knowledge and the core competency was not foreign to us. So we already had the full knowledge of how to work with this, and we could pivot very, very quickly to work on the new solution. I think some of the former speakers mentioned there's no time to develop now. We need to actually go out, put those apps and put those solutions in the market. So we came up with, we worked with the Ministry of Health on them designing and working with them on the Magen app, which already has more than 2 million downloads. And we have developed the Safe app, which we are working with countries and enterprises the world over for the same purpose. And with your permission, if you could just show a quick 90-second explainer video, and I think it could explain it more eloquently than I probably can.
Here's how you can empower your community to battle the COVID-19 pandemic in your country. Every health expert will tell you the #1 priority should be slowing down the spread of the virus or flattening the curve. Enter Safe by GlobeKeeper, the app that accurately and anonymously pinpoints the location of its users and lets them know if they've come in contact with a confirmed COVID-19 patient without invading their privacy. All a user has to do is install the app and enable location services, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. That's it. Once downloaded, the system immediately cross-references the user's recent routes with those of confirmed cases and lets them know if they've crossed paths and should self-isolate. Since GPS covers a relatively broad radius around a user, Safe adds layers of Bluetooth, data over sound, and Wi-Fi. GlobeKeeper's unique algorithm aggregates data from all sensors for maximum precision, pinpointing locations as specific as a single floor in an office building, therefore avoiding over-disruption. Personal data is saved locally, so no personal information is shared on the network, ensuring maximum privacy. Once notified, a user can choose to share their location history and sensor information with the local Ministry of Health. By sharing their information, users help authorities conserve valuable resources. Instead of interrogating each person separately, now the authorities can notify anyone who has been potentially exposed through the app, and with just a few clicks. Health officials can access and monitor all of the macro data instantly on an intuitive, easy-to-use dashboard. So contact GlobeKeeper today and empower your community to battle COVID-19 together.
So after having seen the video, I want to just touch on a few points, and I think these are issues which are being raised the world over, and I'm sure the panel will agree. Our main guiding principles were three points. The first, that the app needed to be fully secure. GlobeKeeper used its military-grade encryption to ensure that we are going to be a secure app. Very important for GDPR compliance. Privacy, very, very important. Which brings me to the next principle, is that of privacy. Privacy is absolutely critical. And we mentioned about opting in or opting out of the app. It must be voluntary, and it needs to be done by the community and for the community. Very, very important for us. But an equal citizen in that trifecta is also the accuracy. And we, as you could have seen in the video, are able to blend and aggregate both GPS, very important to know where things are happening, but similarly to be able to add the Bluetooth, the Wi-Fi triangulation. And we're also looking to possibly do data over sound, so we can really get that 2 meters or maybe 10 minutes accuracy, to a point where we're only alerting the right people to be then sent to self-isolation. This is absolutely critical. Another feature we're adding, and we're seeing that testing is incredibly important the world over, but many, many countries are unable to test. So we're going to be adding what we call a feature where one can look at symptoms. So the person can, when enabling the app, can add their age, and for example, if they do or don't have a pre-existing condition. And then when they can alert the server, the admin, that they have certain conditions, for example, a high fever, sore throat, etc. And according to what they inserted in the beginning in the app, they will be given different guidance. If they're young and healthy, then they will be asked to remain in isolation for 14 days. However, if they fall into the category of high risk, then they will get priority testing. And obviously, we're working with the health authorities to do this. We're very excited about this, both in getting people back to work, working with governments, but also working with enterprises. And again, thank you for having me on the panel.
Thank you very much, Florian. Now the turn is for Nicholas.
Hey, hello, how are you? Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation here to speak in R2C event. I think, first of all, to understand what we are doing in Petrobras, in October of 2019, we create the directory that I'm running on, that is the Digital Transformation and Innovation Directory. That means that we have the challenge to do innovation and digital transformation in a huge company. And in that case, under this directory, I have the CIO, the CDO, the CSO, the R&D area for Petrobras, and also the shared services under my responsibility. And I think just to create that kind of a structure is an innovation in what we see in organizations like oil and gas and others ones. And in this digital transformation, since October, we start running a huge program of digital transformation in Petrobras, and in a bimodal way, that we start understanding what digital platforms we need to change in the business as usual part, but also how we can do innovation to accelerate this digital transformation. I am speaking before the pandemic crisis. And in the way of that, what we did from October to today was helping us to almost put and running the full company in a home office platform. That means, for example, I give some numbers. I can also share. As a part of our digital transformation program, and I think what we did, we accelerate all the fronts that we have in place, that we have planned. It's allow us to put between 20 and 30,000 people in home office. Some numbers that I will share with you also, I can share the graphic. In 1 or 2 weeks, we delivered 6,000 notebooks, plus the 31,000 notebooks that we already have in place. Also, we activate the capacity. We increase the capacity of VPN connections to 25 or 24,000 people simultaneously in parallel. Also, we deliver virtual terminals or virtual desktop because we have some users that need to use high performance computing or some system that maybe they will need to use or connect to our machines. We deliver 15,000 virtual terminals in order to connect. And we are using like video conference, like Microsoft Teams, that we have almost 56,000 connections simultaneously. Also, we are doing leadership connections. We are doing design thinking. We are working with agile teams. Everything using a Microsoft Teams connection or video conference connection. I think in this digital transformation, or in the situation that we are today, that I call the perfect storm, because the market is going down. For us, the oil price is going down also, and we have the pandemic. I think no one from risk will predict the kind of scenario that we are living today. In this sad situation, I think is something that we can take as a positive. That is, we are going to do in these 3 months that we are passing through a digital transformation. That means it's a cultural transformation, so it's not just technology, that maybe we will do in 3 or 5 years. That means that we are doing in 3 months something that maybe for us will take the 3 or 5 years. And I think it's something positive to take all this sad situation. And we are in a new normal. When we put 30,000 people in home office, we are changing the way of working. But when we come to the normality, and here we speak about the new normal, I think what we can take place is the world will change, the way of working will change, and we need to adapt to this situation. And I think it's something to take care of that one. But also in our R&D area, what we are doing, we create a scientific response team. We are sharing our high performance computing, that we have capacity resource along with our partners for what? For work to design, understand how the COVID-19 is working, and we can start understanding how to design therapeutic thing to stop the pandemic. Also, we are building and delivering thermographic cameras or thermographic products in order to help our colleagues when they need to go to a building, or we need to be on board in a platform. We are using business intelligence, artificial intelligence, all the technological resources that we have in place. We are putting available to of course, to our company, but also to the society, in order to help us to pass this pandemic and crisis situation that we are living. And in Petrobras, we are fully committed to work for the health of our colleagues. That is why we run in a few time to put everybody that we can in home office. we are speaking about 20,000 or 30,000 people, between 20,000 and 30,000 people. That is a huge number. All the time that I say that if I go to the board and I want to present a project to put 20 or 30,000 people in home office, in a normal situation, will be something that maybe they will call them crazy. But right now, we passed through a situation that we need to do it, and we did it through the people, with the people, working with all the teams, working with the technology that we have in place in order to move forward and accelerate the company, deliver results, add value, and also accelerate this digital transformation. Thank you very much.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me here with you. It's a pleasure to be with you guys. I'm a COVID survivor, so I spent like 9 days with a crazy fever and all the symptoms. It was very hard, so I resonate with Agostinho's feelings. Drumwave is a data company. It's the data value company, and I'm watching this pandemic and talking to friends around here in Palo Alto and in Brazil and in Asia, and it's funny to watch and to listen to the economists saying that we are maybe crossing a V-shaped curve. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. It's whenever we have a big recession, right, a very strong recession. After that, we always have a strong recovery with the same energy and power of the recession. But I think we are going through a kind of a V-shaped curve that nobody has ever seen up to the moment. It's a real global impact. All the other times that we measure a V-shaped curve, it was like very short. It's just a specific Europe or the 29 stock exchange crisis. It was very, very, very small compared to what we have now. But I would like to talk about digital transformation and how we see this happen, right? The Drumwave, digital transformation for us, it's about the amount of energy that we use to transform information in data and data back into information. So we were all born and raised into a stack of technology that was built to monetize through applications. So you have the user, you have the device, you have the app, you have the carrier, you have the Wi-Fi, and then the processing down there. So that's the stack of technology. It was built to monetize through applications. You sell application, then you can sell and keep the whole stack working. I think the biggest transformation that we're going to see in the next few years, and it was going to be driven by this recession and the recovery by data, is that this whole stack is going to be transformed. And I think that the rules of engagement of the stack is the most important thing. So far today, the stack is he's kind of like controlled by the OS, by the operating system, right? And it will change. So today, the technology stack that monetizes through applications, it looks to the world, it gets information and transforms the information back into data, right? But we are entering a phase where we're going to need to monetize the data. So applications that are going to be born soon, they will do different things than the applications that we know today are doing. So the regular application that we have today, it looks to the world and it gets the information and transforms it into data by doing two things. It fragments and it's specialized. By doing this, it creates silos like email, CRM, ERP, stuff like that, right? The new applications that are going to be born on top of that, they are going to do two things. They're going to combine and exchange, right? And for this it's the power of transforming information into data and data back into information. Thinking about the capacity of being energy efficient into this game, I think that the human brain it's much more energy efficient than anything we have ever built so far, right? And that the most important thing for all of us is to empower the user, give the user the control of its data, right? To me, this is a trend that is going to be pushed over the COVID crisis, pandemic, and position the user with the right tools and the right processing power in order to be able to generate value without spending a lot of energy. And I think this is pretty much what we are doing into Drumwave. We have a platform, a complete platform that you can capture data, you can analyze data, you can create data apps, data products, and by doing so, you can monetize those data apps for users, monetizing data, monetizing even rules. You can get a specific rule, like a score or a health score, and deploy this into the platform and create a little ecosystem around that. And then monetizing this to users also. We are pretty much engaged in 2 or 3 big projects to help COVID analysis and visualization. We have a group here in working with the Stanford team. And I really think we're going to go through this crisis very quickly. And recovery is just ahead of us. And that's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I have a question for all you guys, and this crisis has made our society, our family, and ourselves comes to a digital transformation. So the same thing we spoke about companies, we have with us as individuals. Is this new digital individual has the primary sensor, the mobile phone. So saying that, the society realized how valuable is information, how valuable is data, even for national security. Contamination shows that this is a security issue. So the question for you guys is, what's going to happen to privacy when we face this national security matter? What's going to happen to the individual rights and individual privacy versus society survival? That's going to be a question for you guys thinking after the pandemic in the new normal of our lives. So the first one to answer, please, Agostinho Vilela.
Thank you, Bernardo. I think that's a very interesting question. And before I tackle the question itself, it's important for people to realize that unless a vaccine comes out around the corner, there will be a transition. Okay, so we're going to have to deal with this even when the cases decrease for quite a while. So contact tracing will be with us for quite a while. But a way to sort of circumvent, avoid this question would be put in place the necessary privacy-preserving features within contact tracing so that you don't have to have this trade-off. So that you can have health and at the same time be privacy-preserving. That's basically where most of the discussion around contact tracing have been revolving around, and I think that's feasible. In fact, that's what I strongly believe in. Okay, and so you can actually provide more health, provide a means to deal with not only this pandemic, but with the next ones, because there will be additional ones in the coming years, make no mistake. And also deal with the fact that this transition is going to be slow. It's not going to be like on-off. It's not like tomorrow we have a vaccine and everything goes to normal. It's not going to be like that. At least I find that unlikely. We're going to have a transition where we're going to have less cases, but we're going to have to coexist more. We're going to have to return to the office. So I think given that, I think we should have, and there are means to have that contact tracing solution that is privacy preserving. So they want to have significant trade-offs.
Thank you. André Ferraz, could you give us your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Well, privacy, like we shouldn't need to go through to trade privacy for health or trade privacy for security. It's possible to deliver both at the same time, as long as you, first of all, provide the user with control, as we've mentioned before, and as long as you really apply the right techniques to anonymize and to encrypt and secure the data, right? So there are several techniques out there, and many others being created right now. It's interesting to see the advances here, especially in regards to contact tracing. Many projects from Singapore to Europe to United States to Brazil working on that. So yeah, I think there are definitely all of the necessary tools to make it possible to have both privacy and health and security. Conversations about, for example, like delaying a data protection regulation due to COVID is definitely not necessary, and other things like that. So I think we already have all of the legal and also technical frameworks to address this problem. And I'd like to use the quote from Yuval Harari in the very first weeks of the pandemic, in which he said that the state of emergency could be there forever, right? So we shouldn't treat that simply as an exception and remove all of the privacy rules and all of the privacy regulations. We should actually enforce them, so we come up with the best solutions that combine all of the best elements of this.
Wari, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts, as you are in a totally different country than we are in Israel.
Yeah.
Certainly face different challenges.
Definitely, we have sometimes a rough neighborhood over here, but I would say that definitely I agree with what the panel has said so far. And I think some countries in the beginning, as did Israel in the beginning, they went for cyber offensive techniques, which something which obviously is the country was dead against, to go in using Big Brother technology, which is used more in counterterrorism than it is to deal with your citizens. So I would like to suggest two things. I think regulation on the one hand, the GDPRs and what every country has got their own flavor of the privacy compliances. This is one thing. But I would go one step further, and this is something what we're trying to do. We need, besides user control, we need the user buy-in. We need them to understand that it's about the community of users. And in order that they are appeased by that, we need to get thought leaders come out and speak with people, not just advertise these contact tracing and other other apps and technologies, but you need thought leaders to come out and say, this is very, very secure. This will protect your privacy. Anonymity is guaranteed. And then people will download the apps, because one thing we forgot to mention, I believe, in the panel, unless a critical mass actually downloads and uses these apps, it's kind of not going to be effective enough. And this is our challenge. And I'll just give you one example. When we test to see that a contact point was made between an infected person and a community of users, we do that check on the user side, on our mobile phone, not on the server side, which is another way to give the people the confidence that we're not going to be tapping into the data, in addition to the anonymity. So complex topic, and it's here to stay, but great question.
Thank you very much. Nicholas, your thoughts, please.
Well, I think it's a complex topic, but we live in a world that is ambiguous. What we need to understand that data, we need to transform data in information, and that kind of data doesn't mean in some cases that we are going to break the privacy. Like we have security cameras in the street. I think we can use, how do you say, this digital platform, this digital transformation, in order to help us to be safe. And in that case, I think each individual has to must to have the option to be tracked or not. But also, if we guarantee that the privacy, we can use the data to get information to understand what situations we can live there or not. I think it's an ambiguity, but for one side, I think it's possible to have information without break the privacy of the people and help the society, the community that we are interacting in order to be protected.
Andre, we very short on time. Could you make some comments?
Sure. I think that we were heading to one specific direction before the COVID-19, where privacy was introduced into the game with the consumer as a defenseless, as a powerless person, right? Just being predated by big tech companies or other companies. And the COVID just brought us into a complete different situation. Now it's the privacy theme, and it's all around security in your life, right? It's not only to sell you chocolate, right? But I believe that after that, we're gonna face a new metaphor. We're gonna see a new paradigm where ethics and other values are gonna be imbalanced, but only after that. So far, everything to me is just speculation.
So, guys, thank you very much. It was a very, very sharp panel. You guys are great. It's an honor to exchange with you here, and I hope this information will help people for the future. And now I would like to say that we will present a video about the launch of Petrobras Connections for Innovation. The objective of the program of the development of the disruptive exponential innovation and help startups to grow and to develop, especially the innovation in the oil and gas ecosystem. I will leave you with Juliano Dantas, Executive Manager of Petrobras Research Center, to tell you more about this initiative. Okay? So thank you and bye.
Olá, pessoal da Rio2C Live, esse evento que fala sobre criatividade e inovação. Eu sou Juliano Dantas e responsável pelo Centro de Pesquisas da Petrobras. Falando em criatividade e inovação, eu queria conversar um pouco com vocês sobre o nosso programa Conexões para a Inovação, que é o programa de inovação aberta da Petrobras. Dentro desse programa, nós temos os módulos de startups. Estamos agora caminhando para o segundo módulo, cujo edital vai sair agora em maio. A partir do dia 11 de maio até o dia 30 de junho poderão ser feitas as inscrições. E nesse edital, que é uma parceria com o Sebrae, estamos buscando pequenas empresas e startups que têm seu DNA, criatividade, inovação, desenvolvimento tecnológico, que possam ser aplicados à indústria de óleo e gás. As tecnologias que a gente está buscando nesse módulo vão de tecnologias digitais, de maneira geral, com aplicação transversal na empresa, robótica, eficiência energética, modelagem geológica, inspeção, manufatura, dentre outros. Se a sua empresa tem esse perfil, fique ligado em nosso site. As inscrições ocorrerão, como eu falei, entre 11 de maio e 30 de junho. Vocês serão muito bem-vindos. Contamos com a sua energia para transformar. Tenham todos um excelente evento. Um abraço.